Welcome back from the break. You're still watching This Week, and I'm Somna Sambo. Next is the heated controversy over the controversial ward delineation in Warri Federal Constituency of Delta State. Hundreds of Ijaw protesters during the week marched on the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Abuja to register their support for INEC's delineation exercise, which they described as fair and in line with the Supreme Court judgment. But some Shekiri leaders of thought have countered it by accusing INEC of abandoning its constitutional responsibilities and aligning with what they describe as, quote, an Ijaw script. On its part, INEC has described as false misconceptions the proposed delineation of wards in the Warri Federal Constituency by order of the Supreme Court, while appealing to all stakeholders in the constituency to refrain from engaging in any activity that could threaten the peace and security of the area. The Commission promised to continue its operations based on fairness, equity, rule of law, and in full consultation with all stakeholders. Now, to help us take a closer look at the issues, we have joining us from our Lagos studio, former president of the Warri National Council, Collins Eselomo. He's also a former APC House of Representatives candidate in Delta State. Thank you so much and welcome. So talk to us about this controversy after the Supreme Court judgment, and then, of course, the efforts by INEC since 2022 to actually ensure that this delineation is done in such a way that stakeholders are all happy.
Well, thanks for having me. For want of time, I'm going to be very prolific, pragmatic, all-inclusive, and civilized on all fours. The issues here are very simple and straight to the point. There are 4 issues that are centered around this and that are functions of this ward delineation as a result of the Supreme Court judgment. One is the delineation. 2, the delineation has resulted to threat to lives and property. The mainstay of that threat is Tompolo of Tantita, an Ijaw man, against the entire Ijaw people. Then 3, the ownership of Warri, a little geographical expression that expresses the wealth of this nation. And all these things are happening for oil. I will split my designation to address these issues accordingly. As the president of the Warri National Congress, I will address the issue of peace, delineation. Then, as the grand patron of the Ijaw Youth Council, I will address the issue of threat to Tompolo's life, Tantita, and the Ijaw people in general. That is how I will split my designation to address these issues, and truth must be told. 1, Tompolo and Tantita, and the threat from some leaders, to mention but a few, Ejele, who is an Okbe man, and maternally Shekiri, against the Ijaw people and against Tantita. We have considered this as a cheap threat. It's of no moment and it's inconsequential. And we don't want to put some importance to that. But we are bringing it to the knowledge of the members of the security community to take note of that threat, because we are in a democracy where it is expected that is to derive a phenomenon that reconciles government efficiency and its legitimacy, the authority that we have given to Bola Tinubu, and our freedom. Those are the 4 fundamentals of democracy.
Yeah, but the fundamental issue here is on that
on Tompolo issue. Yes. I'm telling you what the delineation has resulted to. It's threatening life.
Yeah,
Hello?
but isn't INEC actually having the right to do this delineation? And why does it look like they are not being given the support? Because INEC is saying that there's been a lot of misconception despite the stakeholders meeting that has been holding since 2022 after that Supreme Court judgment. I mean, before this issue you're talking about, I mean, the specific actors.
Look, I'm not hearing you anymore.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I will want to submit straight away on that issue. And I submit that the whole evidence produced by the Shekiri, such as it is tantamount to a complete fabrication, absolutely irresponsible without foundation, and cleverly woven to implicate the Ijaw people via the Tompolo and Tantita thing. It's without foundation and it's of no moment. The Shekiri leader that appear in one of these electronic media, by his own showing, he declared that the voters register people to vote in the Warri federal constituency was 250,000. And he shot himself on the feet after the elections of 2023. The man that has the certificate of return, Thomas, who is now in the National Assembly, won with a vote of less than 10,000 votes. Compare that 10,000 votes to the 250 registered voters, because he's saying that INEC is corrupt. They did not consider the statistical record of the voters registrar. And after the election, the entire vote that brought Thomas as a victor was less than 10,000 votes. That will prompt any conscience to believe that there is a foul play. So he shot himself on the foot. That is mene for you. That was the reason he advanced, to make Nigerians believe that INEC was corrupt. So if you are saying that the total number of registered voters is over 200,000, and the 2023 election that produces Thomas in the National Assembly was less than 10,000 votes, somebody must be telling lies somewhere. And we have every right to complain of their conduct.
Okay.
That is about the defense of mene. And it has resulted to threat to life.
Security agencies will handle
Shekiri
that.
leaders are threatening
The security
I know
agencies,
they will handle that.
They will handle that.
Come here.
But the specific
They will
thing,
handle it.
the specific things, Mr. Eselomo, here is that the Shekiris are emphasizing that Warri South has no presence of Ijaw historically, and that there have been legal dispute, land dispute, and that specifically that Warri South, there's no presence of Ijaw people.
I'm not hearing you.
No, I mean, go ahead. That the Ijaws are not indigenous to Warri South. That's what the Shekiris are saying, and asking INEC to be careful.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That amounts to ownership of Warri, according to them. Ownership is the absolute right to a property by the owner. And how do you own a place? The Warri South you're talking about, that the Ijaw presence are not there. How do you own it? You own it, one, by occupying the place. You own it as an aborigine. I want the Shekiri leader from anywhere to prove to me, Collins Eselomo, that he owns Warri South or the Warri Cosmopolitan Metropolis. Let me define the Warri cosmopolitan metropolis. It is made up of the Okere community, the Agbasa community, the Udu community, and the Ogbijo community, then Elders Town. Let me describe the portion that belongs to the Ogbijo community, the Ijos of Warri. If you are used to Warri very well, once you go along Okere Road, on the left till you get to the bridge, you take that stream and get to MPA. The whole of that stretch of land was the Ogbijo clan land. As I speak to you, the Olu of Warri, the grandfather to the present Olu, subletted a lease and bought a property in this geographical expression that I've just explained to you. The properties are there, one opposite post office, one in Guinewa and Market Road. It's a lease, it's a non-European lease that was taken from Nelson Williams. You can't own a place and buy a property from the place. That is from the Olu of Warri, who is in custody of their culture and the properties therein. So how do you own a place? How do you say the Ijos are not present in Warri South?
All right.
They have not been able to prove it. It's all a fantasy that is orchestrated by political combos.
All right.
So they are putting the blames, yeah.
All right, I would just want you to calm down as we
blames
try to round off this conversation, Mr. Eselomo. Let's talk about how INEC has a Supreme Court mandate to actually do this delineation. And INEC says it has been meeting with both parties. Well, how can the Ijaw people also try to build confidence among their Ishekiri counterparts so that this does not go out of hand, considering what happened, several years back, which led to conflicts, and you have also mentioned names and the threat to life and all of that. Shouldn't we be inching towards peace and helping INEC to undertake that Supreme Court mandate?
That was why I splitted. That was why I splitted my designation to address the issue of security. You are coming up with it now, and you shut me out, which is not very good.
Well, sorry about that.
We have to think of a way. Yes, we have to think of a way, a panacea for peace. That was why I splitted my designation, one, as a peace-loving person, and two, as the Grand Patron of Warri National Congress. More so, what Tom Polo has done, that he does not deserve this type of treatment, is that he has kick-started the transition of the Shekiris and the Ijaws from the fatigue of despair meted on us by the Nigerian state to the buoyancy of hope. The Shekiris are beneficiaries of Tantita, and in recognition of his meritorious service, sense of duty and integrity, he was made to take care of the pipeline architecture, the infrastructure of the oil industry. And now that they are posing some threats against him, it's not fair. So after searching such an eminent gentleman in a Trojan in Tompolo, without finding anything incriminating on him, they realized they might be taken to their subconsciousness where corruption and fake threats reigns. We will not take that as a job, people. What crime has he committed, Tantita? Is it because he brought a Marine Federal University to the Warri Federal constituency? Is it because the Shekiris are leveraging on his expertise?
All right.
Look, let me tell you something. All the Shekiris political gladiators, from Okotiebo to the present House of Representative candidate, they have not done 1/10 of what Tompolo has done.
All right. As we try to...
So now that...
As we try to round off
So
this...
they shouldn't use this delineation and take us back to the 1997 crisis of the Shekiris and the Ijos. That is where I come in.
All right, very quickly.
Tompolo and his Tantita should be left alone, and they should face the delineation. They should sever the delineation from Tompolo Tantita, and they should stop that threat.
All right, very interesting.
To the job people.
Very interesting perspective.
We are taking a very serious exception to that.
All right, very interesting perspective. At least you're calling for peace at the end of the day. But just before I let you go, I want you to talk about the role of elder statesmen. I mean, people who have been there for a long period of time, because, I mean, with the way the Shekiris and the Ijos are going, you have the Delta State government in place. Shouldn't the governor be much more interested? Have we had the governor and the state government doing so much to actually reduce this calm, reduce this tension as the federal authorities through INEC are trying to do this delineation? What role as an elder do you think the Delta State government should play in this issue?
Thank you very much. This is a very, very good question. The Shekiris mismanaged the political capital they inherited from Awolowo. And it shouldn't be the business of Tompolo and the Ijaw people. At a point, if you mismanage your political capital that you inherited from Awolowo, it should be your business. I've just told you here, during the First Republic, we have Shekiri leaders, the Rewanes, the Okotiebos, the Atakes, name them. They failed in their duty to make sure that they build the political capital they inherit from Awolowo himself. And this great Awolowo I am talking about was a mentee to an Ijaw man, Ukoli. So they shouldn't take for granted the patience
what's the role
of the
Delta State government?
So they have never maintained the political capital they inherited from Awolowo that has enslaved the forefathers of Tompolo.
What was the role of the Delta State government, just before I let you go, what's the role of the Delta State government in all of this? How can we return to the negotiating table?
What are you negotiating? The Supreme Court has given judgment and we should comply. Why are you negotiating? Why are you putting it to test? The Supreme Court has given judgment and we should comply.
All right.
Why complying with the Supreme Court judgment? Sever it. Don't issue threats.
All right. Well,
sever it. Sever that from the Tompolo and the Tantita thing.
All right.
So that it will not result to crisis that we cannot manage.
All right.
We can't discuss on an issue that has been deliberated upon by the Supreme Court.
We must thank you so much, Mr. Collins.
Where everybody, Tom, Dick, and Harry can just come and be issuing a threat.
All right. We must thank you so much for making your views.
So we are taking a very serious exception to that.
All right. Mr. Collins Eselomo is the former president of the Warri National Council.
Everybody should comply with
I'm afraid I just have to let you go at this moment. Because we've actually run out of time. Well, that's the much we can take on this edition of This Week. Thanks to our production team here in Abuja, Lagos, and London. Do join us same time next week for another exciting edition. I'm Somna Sambo.